What's up, YouTube land? Xeno Gaming here, back for a second episode of my F1 2018 career mode. Now I do apologise, I've been away for a very long time, haven't been keeping up with the YouTube videos, but I'm back here for my second instalment of my 2018 career mode. So yeah, here at Bahrain for the second race in the Sauber Alfa Romeo car, if you guys cannot remember. Also, just a quick note on the video, I don't know what happened, but for this episode and the next episode at China, I've lost the audio files. I don't know what happened, so yeah, I haven't quite got those here. Anyway, now moving on to qualifying, here is the first run I did, a 29.4 for the first flying lap in the Sauber, getting back up to speed on the game around Bahrain. Quite a tricky track, looks easy on paper, but it's not. Now the second run was slower, so here we 2 tenths down, 3 tenths down, wasn't going to bother completing the lap, come into the pit lane to put on a fresh set of tyres. I'm pretty sure I did that was the second lap on the same set of tyres, and it wasn't improving, so I'm coming to the pits, P18 only, so a lot to improve for the second run. The first lap that we completed was very scruffy, I'm pretty sure. A lot of mistakes. Can't exactly remember because I haven't played this race last week and compared to the day I'm commentating it. Anyway, very scruffy. I found it very difficult to get my setup. I'm not my favourite. I wouldn't say it's a good track to drive, but just not one I'm very comfortable with. Especially through turn 1 on the exit, going through turn 2. I always struggled with that corner. Just a track I've always found really challenging. Really. Struggle to come to grips here. Here we're looking at the time, seeing where we need to improve in terms of the lap times compared to our teammate Charles Leclerc, who's a bit quicker than us at this moment in time, and we need to, just looking at the sector times really, to see where we can find improvements in our overall lap time. But in here we come to the end of Q1 on our last set of tyres, coming through the last corner, very much taking a lot of the inside curb, and Romano comes to the line to set a lap time, which was an improvement. I can't quite tell by the preview box, but it's only P16, and Romano is out of Q1, and we have been out qualified by our teammate Charles Leclerc in the Sauber, not making it to Q1. Very unfortunate. Not missing out by too much, about a tenth of a second there to Gasly, so very unfortunate, but it's not ideal start to the Bahrain Grand Prix. Very, once again, tricky track to get right, but yeah, not ideal starting position for the race at Bahrain. So here's the grid lineup: Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Verstappen, Grosjean, Magnussen, Hulkenberg, Sainz and Perez, Gasly, Ocon, Alonso. Bottas would take a penalty and only start P14, which helps us. Leclerc ends up qualifying 15th, and here's the back of the grid with Van Dorn, Hartley, Stroll and Sorokin rounding out the grid. A very exciting race here, very interesting one on prospect. Probably just going with the one-stop strategy for this race. I think it's the best strategy on paper, just to do one pit stop, go from start on the softs, then switch over to the mediums, and just eliminate that loss of an extra pit stop time that you would lose if you had to do an extra pit stop. So that was the thinking behind that one, to go with the one stop. About 6 seconds quicker on paper according to the chart there. So here we go for the start of the Bahrain Grand Prix at Sakir, and 5 red lights and lights out, and away we go here as the start of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Very scruffy start for Romano, a lot of wheel spin, and he's overtaken by 2 cars of Van Dorn and Hartley, but dive it down back the inside here. Bottas looks like he's had a bit of contact, a little bit of trouble, loses the front wing, a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there with Leclerc. Very hard racing, coming through turn 1 onto the run now to turn 4, and we got Hartley all over the back of us here, and we have to defend into turn 4 to keep the position, make sure he doesn't go down the inside here. And very exciting start to this Bahrain Grand Prix, potentially with Valtteri Bottas breaking his front wing, being stuck in the middle of the pack, out of place, out of position. And now here we go on the back of Leclerc, down the inside, very bold move from Romano. And he takes the position off his teammate to move into P14, now chasing after Esteban Ocon in the Force India. And so a good start for Romano, up 2 places from P16 to P14. Just now looking to find a rhythm here for Romano to get into and go on his merry way to trying to get this Sauber Alfa Romeo up to his first ever career points after a rough race in Melbourne in the rain at his home Grand Prix, chasing after Ocon, who is on the back of Valtteri Bottas here, who seems to have some damage and is struggling here. Now we cut onto and started lap 2, sorry, and Ocon's around the outside having a look at Valtteri Bottas, and he, as Romano misses the first apex there, Ocon down the inside into turn 2, now going around into turn 3, can't quite pull it off in the slipstream, looking to do the move maybe into turn 4. Ocon quite not close enough, cannot make the move into turn 4, and will have to reset for the next lap, or the next DRS opportunity, which will be the start of the next lap. And here he is again going around the outside again. Bottas once again, well defended move, but this time he cannot keep it. Yes, he can keep it around the outside. The mechanical grip of the Mercedes and maybe the super soft tyre just showing off a bit more pivotal there. Of course, Bottas qualified in the top 10, and there's been I don't know what kind of penalty it was. It must have been 10 places, so he's starting on a used set of tyres compared to Ocon and myself starting on fresh tyres. But here, Bottas locking up into the final corner. Now Ocon's got a great opportunity to use DRS to make this overtake happen, as he looks up the inside this time, not going around the outside. And Ocon and his Romano a bit late on the brakes, and he's, to avoid contact, has to go down the inside, and Romano muscles his way past Valtteri Bottas. Bottas tries to fight back, and Romano holds onto the position. Bottas clearly struggling with a front wing damage and maybe old tyres that are just degrading away very, very quickly on the super soft tyre. So Ocon and Romano find themselves way past Bottas. But now here on the next lap, Ocon's at it again. He's got some really good pace here, and he's closed up to the back of Kevin Magnussen. He's looking around the outside into turn 1, and Ocon goes around the outside. That will now turn to the inside for turn 2, and Ocon's done it. He's passed Kevin Magnussen. Magnussen hasn't got that same mechanical grip that Bottas has to go around the outside of Ocon, and now we're on the back of Kevin Magnussen. We're chasing down the Haas driver for P12, sorry. Ocon has moved into P11. So, yeah, as we're improving personal best first sector here, have a possible opportunity down the inside into the hairpin in the middle sector. Very, very shallow entry into there, but down the first gear, get the job done. P12 for Chris Romano, moving up through the field, working together with Esteban Ocon very, very nicely here, as we are halfway through stage of lap 5. And now moving on to lap 8. The front runners, Kimi Räikkönen and Lewis Hamilton, have made pit stops for a fresh set of soft tyres. And now they're over the back of Chris Romano, looking for a way through, as Räikkönen now opens up the DRS opportunity here for him to make a move at the end of the back straight, but he's not quite close enough yet, and we'll have to just wait a little bit longer to get past. Meanwhile, Ocon ahead is closing down the gap to the Toro Rosso ahead of Pierre Gasly, so look out for that in the coming laps maybe, as Räikkönen gets a good run onto this little back straight here, and he possibly is going to go down the inside. Yes, Kimi Räikkönen, the Iceman, into the final corner, down the inside, and he makes his way past Romano, but Romano holds it around the outside nicely, but Räikkönen gets a much better drive off the corner in the Ferrari car as you expect. Now Hamilton with DRS and a good slipstream here, trying to make his way past the Sauber driver, and it's about to be 3 wide. Romano's getting pushed by Hamilton, has to lift off, and now Ricciardo exits the pit lane on a fresh set of super soft tyres. He's gone a different strategy to the Mercedes and Ferrari team, and Hamilton manages to get past a lot of them. So Hamilton's made up a few positions here. He's gone from the back of this little train to the front, and now, however, Ricciardo hasn't had enough yet. He's going around the outside of Lewis Hamilton, and Ricciardo on a fresh set of super softs. It's very critical for him to get that move done, and he does. Daniel Ricciardo, proving why he's one of the best overtakers in the business, getting the job done around the outside, as Vettel is actually ahead of him, pressuring Esteban Ocon, so he's got the jump on a lot of this pack. And Ricciardo now will be hunting down Vettel on super soft tyres, so Red Bull going with a different strategy to Ferrari and Mercedes. Now we'll move on to lap 7, as now Max Verstappen, a little bit behind the rest of the front running pack, has come out. Maybe he did stop a few laps after and maybe lost that due to the undercut. Now he's pressuring us here on the end of lap 10, start of lap 11, and Verstappen with DRS really close to the back of us. It's kind of just a foreseen reality here. Romano tries his best to keep ahead, but it was to no avail as Verstappen makes the pass go through at turn 1 and Verstappen moves into P7. Romano back down to... Now here, cutting onto lap 13, we would enter the pits for our one and only stop, going onto the medium compound tyre. Here also in ahead is Sergio Perez, who was just a little bit ahead of Esteban Ocon, his teammate, who would go around for another lap, and unfortunately we were a bit too far behind to challenging Perez, but we're only about 2 or 3 seconds behind Ocon. And on lap 16, I think it was, a virtual safety car would come out. He'd pit under the virtual safety car because Brendan Hartley retired from the race, and we wouldn't see him again. But now here onto lap 18, coming up with Grosjean and Hulkenberg, while Magnussen is also behind this little pack. Magnussen pitted a few laps before these guys. He was closing in on me, and now Grosjean and Hulkenberg have come out just ahead of Kevin Magnussen in that battle, and Grosjean's already on the attack, pressuring me into turn 4. I'm trying to focus ahead on Nico Hulkenberg, but these guys were 2 stopping and in a much better position than me now, because they have got fresh tyres, fresh soft tyres, compared to where I'm already on 5 laps used medium tyres. So very difficult situation for the Sauber driver here in Romano to keep and hold his position over these quicker drivers and quicker cars and better tyres. So not ideal situation for Romano here. Also noting that Ocon was well ahead of this pack now, a good 10 seconds, just because of the fact he was able to pit under that virtual safety car. But here onto the end of lap 18, start of lap 19, Romain Grosjean has got a DRS, good slipstream, and we hit Romano defending the position very hard, as Bottas is in the pits as well, and so is Carlos Sainz. And Grosjean around the outside, very difficult to make the move work that way, as Romano defends the position well. Now he's going to be under pressure into turn 4. Grosjean once again will be in the slipstream, will have all the ERS abilities, but Romano is able to keep the position that time around. Now lap 20 here into turn 1, once again Romano under pressure from Romain Grosjean, the Frenchman, looking for it. Carlos Sainz has closed up to the back of this battle pack now, and Grosjean in the slipstream going to have to look around the long way around as Romano defends his position to the inside, but Grosjean would be squeezed out wide, and that would give Carlos Sainz the opportunity to take the position, just taking the normal racing one, and that's hurt Romain Grosjean here. He's lost P10 and a possible point to Carlos Sainz. So the Spaniard has done the widely old fox move like his compatriot Spaniard Fernando Alonso would normally do, and he's taken the position of Romain Grosjean. So now we have to defend from the Renault driver, moving on to the end of lap 20, and Carlos Sainz DRS very close to the back of the Sauber driver. Got a great run here, great slipstream, and Romano's gonna have to think about defending here into turn 1. He does, and Sainz now down the outside, brakes late, hard on the brakes. Oh, very close racing, very tight, and Sainz is able to get the move done around the outside, but Romano's not going to give up the position just yet, using overtake mode, rich mix, and he's fair way back here, but he's going to have a look down the inside, and he's very late in the brakes and locks the front wheel, goes very wide, and Sainz is able to take the position. Now Grosjean alongside Romano into the S's, and Romano is able to hold position just for now around the outside. Grosjean finding it very difficult for himself to get past the Sauber driver. He's been very tough. And now you can see on the mini-map that Valtteri Bottas is trying to join the party, and from a recovery drive after the front wing damage and the amount of time he lost in the first half of this race. So now in the middle of lap 21, Grosjean, can he have a look down the back straight? Not quite. He's not quite close enough, going into the left-hander of turn 10. And now through the fast right-hander, Grosjean still all over the back of Chris Romano, going through the right-hander down to this little back straight. Grosjean gets a nice run, but he's not quite close enough into the final corner. He's setting up that move for the main straight, as Valtteri Bottas is coming at a rate of knots as well in the background. He's making ground up, and here comes Grosjean. DRS, full effect. He's looking down the inside, he pulls out to go to the outside as Romano covers off the position, maybe moving twice, but Grosjean nonetheless around the outside. Here goes Romano covering the position off. Grosjean has the inside, but Romano is able to hold it around the outside. Grosjean cannot find a way past the Sauber driver. Now here comes Valtteri Bottas. He's joining the party, and he goes around the outside of Romain Grosjean and takes the position. Obviously in the better car, shouldn't be fighting with the mid-pack here today, but has found himself in that situation on a recovery drive. Now he's pressurising Romano, so Valtteri Bottas and Romano, you look at the curb, unsettling the car, and he's all under pressure here, Romano. Very, very tense situation for him in his second career race, being absolutely pressurised to try and get his first career point here as he locks up into turn 10, and now down the back straight. And Bottas is not close enough though, however, to make the move into the left-hander. Now, cutting to the end of the lap, Bottas pressurising Romano is going to have DRS and a Mercedes engine compared to the Ferrari engine that Grosjean has, and Bottas is able to pull up on the inside. Romano not defending the position this time, and Bottas down the inside here, and now he'd lock up and Romano would misjudge it, and he's hit the back of Bottas. Unbelievable here, and now Romano's got some front wing damage, and now Grosjean is trying to take advantage of it, and Romano's going to actually pull a bit of close to Bottas, but thinks a bit better about the move and has lost any chance maybe now of scoring a point here today in Bahrain. And now Grosjean seeking a chance to finally pass the Sauber driver. He's saying Carlos Sainz and Valtteri Bottas be able to do it, and he must be very frustrated the fact he cannot do it himself. Unbelievable that Valtteri Bottas that Romain Grosjean cannot find a way past this Sauber driver. And now another horror of Pierre Gasly is gaining time, as these guys just losing so much time battling each other as we come through now turn 11, turn 12 and turn 13, as now Nico Hülkenberg is out of the Bahrain Grand Prix, retiring. So now this position is once again for a single point, so very valuable now for Roman. If he wants a point, he's got to do it here, maybe into turn 13, pulling ever closer, but not quite. He's going to have to wait for the main straight to have his opportunity. But Romano very, very tough on the gas. Poor exit for Romano, and Grosjean round the outside finally should be able to get it done, and he's pulled ahead, but Romano's not going to give this up. Diving back down into turn 1, down the inside, very tight angle. Grosjean comes across, contact between the two, unbelievable. Grosjean's down the inside, Romano trying to hold a position, more contact on the exit of turn 3. Now Grosjean's finally ahead. Romano is going to have a look down the inside. He's late on the brakes, and more contact. And now Grosjean and Gasly's just behind all this time. These guys are wasting time, and more contact here in sector 2. Gasly's past Grosjean. Grosjean's lost a second or two. Very interesting to see Romano just muscle his way past Grosjean, almost like touring car racing, just absolutely throw the car on the line to do whatever he can to have the position. So now Pierre Gasly is looking at the back of the Sauber driver, but he's not close enough with the Honda Power Toro also to make a move into turn 11 at the second DRS zone. So now Romano would run wide here through the fast right-hander, and now it's given Gasly a real opportunity down the back straight. Gasly's all over, he's tucked right up under the rear wing of the Sauber driver. He's down the inside as well, and he's not laid off on the brakes though. Romano's able to cover it off, and he's actually finds himself defending from Grosjean. Grosjean's once again around the outside of the Sauber driver. He's got the slipstream, DRS, they both have DRS, and now Grosjean looking for a move. He's going to have to go the long way around. Romano defending the position into turn 1, but this time he uses the curb, and just Grosjean able to keep the position, but he's got a poor run off the second corner here. Now Romano's got slipstream. He's able to pull alongside using the ERS merge to his best advantage, Once again, he squeezes Bottas out while he, not Bottas, Grosjean out while he decides to try and go around the outside. That doesn't work for Romain, and now Gasly is once again past the harsh driver. Very frustrating for Romain Grosjean. He just cannot seem to find a way past Romano when everybody else around could. But here's Gasly. Romano's got a poor exit off the corner. Gasly goes around the outside. Romano's trying to keep it tight, but his car's understeered into the side of Gasly, breaking even more of his front wing. So now Grosjean's back through on Gasly. Romano probably should have given up there in the corner. He'd probably lost, but he tried to throw it in there. He's going to run into the side of Pierre Gasly. Gasly will not be happy in the cockpit now with the front wing damage. Romano is clearly struggling to turn the car, and his chance of points have gone within a quick brain fade at the top double left-hander. And now he's staring at the back of Grosjean and Gasly. Grosjean's finally done the job to get past Chris Romano. So yeah, now Gasly having a look at Grosjean with DRS into turn 1 for 1 extra point. Gasly down the inside, and he's making the move stick as Romano goes deep into the corner. And now Gasly around the outside of Grosjean at turn 2, and he does it. So Pierre Gasly takes that point off Grosjean. Once again, Grosjean finds himself out of the points. Unbelievable to think that he had that chance so many times and he could not get it. Now Kevin Magnussen and Stoffel Van Dorn have pulled up behind Romano on lap 27 with 3 laps to go, and Romano struggling with the front aero of his car, clearly losing lap time now with the damage he's carrying. Electing not to pit here, to thinking he would lose less time with the amount of laps to go, as Magnussen goes around the outside. Bit of contact, but Kevin Magnussen, better tyres and better car at this stage, car condition, is able to pull the move off for P12. So Romano back to P13, and now Stoffel Van Dorn will be looking to find his way through on the Sauber driver to end this hectic Sakir Bahrain Grand Prix in the desert under lights. So Romano is struggling with the air in the front wing, damage to the car, struggling to make an apex at the minute, and Van Dorn's very much got an opportunity to take P12 off him here in the closing stages. Not much up for stake in terms of position, but it's for pride here. These drivers want to beat each other on track, but Romano cannot turn the car through the right hander, and Van Dorn is simply easily through. But Romano does get a good exit off the corner, still using the ERS moves. He doesn't want to give this up. And now Van Dorn in that Renault-powered and draggy McLaren car isn't a way yet. Van Dorn needs to still focus to keep the position here. But with DRS and all the Ferrari engine available to Romano, he's able to easily get past Van Dorn again, and we're back to square one with 2 laps to go for Stoffel Van Dorn, as he now needs to find a way through on the McLaren driver going into turn 4. Is it going to be possible? Not quite. He's not quite close enough, and he's going to have to wait till the next DRS zone on the back straight to be able to get this move done. So now coming to the end of lap 28, Van Dorn's getting very, very close to the back, and Romano's gone off the track, and Van Dorn finally takes that position. Romano struggling with the front end of his car. He's now but got slipstream. Van Dorn has got DRS, but the slipstream and the overtake use of the ARS, and he's going to dive it down into turn 1. It's very tight, and more contact and more front wing damage for Chris Romano, and Van Dorn suffers a bit of damage too. And this is the last lap of the Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel comes over on the last lap to win the race in Vettel style. It's the fastest lap as well, as Romano goes down the inside of Van Dorn, and Van Dorn gets it back on the switchback here. Great racing between the two, very, very clumsy racing too, and Romano goes off the track here. Van Dorn keeps position, and that would be that. Van Dorn would take P13 off Chris Romano, dropping to P14 to come across the line to finish 14th for this Bahrain Grand Prix. So yeah, the Bahrain Grand Prix, guys. apologise for the sloppy driving. Wasn't my best race today. So yeah, but in terms of the battle, we were able to beat Leclerc quite comfortably. Here is Sebastian Vettel, however, the victor of the Bahrain Grand Prix under lights, and Kimi Räikkönen I'm not actually sure if it's second or third. Anyway, Verstappen in P5, he looks happy there. I think the real Max Verstappen would be quite upset with P5. But yes, okay, so Hamilton second, Räikkönen third. That is your podium winners here today. So guys, let me know what your thoughts were on the video itself. I know I'm not very good at this. The commentary's hasn't been my strongest suit just as of yet. I'm trying to get better, obviously. As we go here to the final results page with Ricardo 4th, Perez coming home for P6, great result for Force India with 6th and 7th, and Valtteri Bottas just the 8th place for him with the early struggles in the first half of the race, starting from 14th on the grid, breaking his front wing, and then having to fight back through the pack. It wasn't a bad drive from Bottas, but really did himself no favours today. And so yeah, we see there we were able to beat Leclerc by quite a fair gap. It was which was quite nice. As we will now move to a press conference with Claire, which we have no audio to, of course. So that's unfortunate. But you just see she said it wasn't the cleanest race today, which was very true, unfortunately. And we both the answers here not good for the rep, unfortunately. So the Sauber rep did decrease. It's talking about having a collision with Charles Leclerc, which was the one in the first corner, which wasn't really much of a collision, but anyway, that's the question we were asked. And then another one is, you really looked in control of the car out there. Your team must be thrilled. You know, for my driving, I don't think I was in control of the car that much. I mean, it was pretty woeful. So but anyway, P14 for Bahrain wasn't my best drive, and hopefully trying to improve for the next race at China, which is going to be. China's not one of my favourite tracks, so it's going to be a tough one. And here's the championship standings now. Vettel leading the championship here, so we're down the order. Still yet to score our first points. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.